Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. To help keep this podcast free, we're partnering with Stoke Seeds. More than just a listing of vegetable and flower seeds, the Stoke Seeds website is a complete resource center with valuable information on seed starting, planting, and harvesting, plus all the gardening accessories you need to make your garden the envy of the neighborhood. Pre-order your free 2018 gardening guide today from stokeseeds.com. Cultivating successful growers for generations. We'll have more to come from Stoke Seeds in the next few weeks. Now, on to today's question. You know, folks can email you a question anytime.
Sure,
just
by all means.
Go to our website, planttalkradio.com, and click on the Ask Fred button, or just send it directly, fred@planttalkradio.com. Dorothy wrote in this week, and she said, I've saved 3 Amaryllis bulbs from last year, and I'm trying to get them to bloom. I fertilized them, and I kept them in the dark for 6 weeks. They all have green on them and are starting to grow. Is there anything I can do now to help them along?
Well, Dorothy, the answer is yes and no. Everything that is going to happen that is righteous for us to see a flower has already taken place within the bulb. Now, it sounds like you did some of the right things and maybe all of them, but let me go back through it. Let's start with now, with them coming up. They're going to form their strap-like leaves and so on. And therefore, I would say an east or south window, west window, and then when you are getting them to grow, and they'll grow sometimes seems like an inch a day when they get going, turn them every other day, every third day, so that you keep the sun coming at them from all the way around. And since you can't turn your house, you turn the plant. Now, therefore, they have to have the sun. The sun will indeed help keep those strap-like leaves from getting so tall and floppy. Now, it may still happen because there's only, reduced light intensity this time of year. Now, assuming you did that last year, then you mentioned the 6 weeks and the fertilization. Amaryllis are called heavy feeders, or they need a lot of fertilizer. And this is what you would have done last year. And I've done this. I don't in the present, but I would fertilize those with a water soluble at least every third week when it comes time to water them. And I have, of course, after the season of growth in winter, I put them out in the garden and let them grow on. So I'm fertilizing usually, and I put them in the pot and all in the garden. I would fertilize them, and then comes first frost. Foliage will be killed, and at that point, you give them the 6 weeks of darkness, or let's just say storage. And more is fine, 8 weeks, even 10. Then, as you have brought them out, everything will have happened within that bulb that is going to happen. You need to keep it going by watering, turning it with plenty of sunshine and so on. But if it was not fertilized enough, if you didn't get enough really good big strap-like leaves last year, it may not have set a flower bud down deep in the bud. If not, then you will see only strap-like foliage. Now, that doesn't mean it won't flower again, because I've had a couple that, I don't know, whatever reason, they didn't get what I thought they needed, and they didn't flower. And I've kept them and up the fertilizer and so on, and they did flower in the subsequent years. Now, let's see, you kept them 6 weeks, you fertilized. Right now, you're just going to wait and see. I guess that's the whole point. Now, the next thing is those strap-like leaves, outdoors, full day of sunshine, etc., in the summertime, starting, let's just say, May 15th, because that's when you could, after you've grown them in the wintertime, you could take them out May 15 or thereafter and expect them to be safe and grow on through the summer, bury the pot, etc. In the meantime, from a florist or from a garden center or a hardware store, get some thin rods, anywhere, 1/8 of an inch or whatever, that are going to stand up to 10, 12 inches tall, that you put down in beside the bulb, not down through it, so that you can put a piece of twine or yarn around those straps. You don't try to gather the foliage up. You just try to keep them from flopping over. They'll look better, and then they will probably get more sunlight distribution in and around the leaf if you keep them up in a group. Now, that group is still going to be maybe a 10-inch or we'll call it a hoop. It would be 10 inches in diameter. It just doesn't let them lay down. When they come along at this point, all will happen based on what you did in the past. Then this year, enjoy, and we hope you enjoy the flower. Take them on through the growing time for this winter. Fertilize them lightly, at least, even indoors, maybe every third week, but it would be a half-rate water-soluble solution because you don't want them growing too fast, becoming more floppy. Then outdoors, a good summer's growth. Then in after that very first frost that kills the foliage, let them rest for 6+ weeks, then bring them out as you wish. And a lot of people then who have more than one amaryllis will bring them out every other week so that they're coming on staggered so that you don't necessarily get 3 plants doing the same thing at the same time, which can be very rewarding, but you can also keep them going, depending on how many you have, for X weeks of bringing them out every other week.
I know a few years ago we got one for Christmas. A family member sent us one, and the variety was called peppermint, and doggone if that thing didn't come up and look just like a candy cane.
Yes.
It was magnificent.
Yes. And, the beauty there, Mark, is that the florist and or grower of this bulb has done everything in the prior year. Then you buy it boxed and you get the beauty of it as peppermint stick and so on. If you're going to do it over again, then you have to follow the same steps that the grower would take to keep it coming on strong.
Thanks again for listening to the podcast. If you have a question for Fred, go ahead and email us, fred@planttalkradio.com. And for the best selection of vegetable, flower, and herb seeds available, go to www.stokeseeds.com. Pre-order your free 2018 gardening guide today from stokeseeds.com. Cultivating successful growers for generations.